Christi Christians belonged to an immortality cult for 30 years. Her book, Wager on Forever, explores how she was drawn into the cult, how the trio of cult leaders applied the usual strategies to keep their followers on the hook, and how Christi was ultimately able to leave the group. Unfortunately, in order to do this, she had to leave her adult son behind. He's still involved with the cult as of this recording. I'm Alexandra Amor. This is episode 3 of Creative Alchemy. Welcome to Creative Alchemy. I'm your host, Alexandra Amor. I'm an author, a writing and publishing coach, and a cult survivor. This is the podcast where my guests and I explore the healing properties of creative expression. In each episode, we discuss how creativity can help us alchemize trauma into something meaningful and something that may even help others. You'll find episode show notes, transcriptions, your complimentary Creative Alchemy journaling handbook, and lots more at creativealchemypodcast.com. And now, here's the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Creative Alchemy. When I first met Christi, I was stunned and impressed by how quickly she had been able to begin writing about her experience in the immortality cult that she belonged to. My personal experience after a cult was very different. It was 8 years before I was able to begin writing my story. Christi started almost right away as soon as she left the group that she belonged to. And good for her, because based on what she says in this interview, the writing process was healing for her. And you'll hear her talk about why that was and what that looked like for her. It's not an easy thing to do, to write about a traumatic experience, especially one that was 30 years in the making. And I am so impressed with Christi's drive and determination and her resilience that enabled her to tell her story. And that really is one reason why I produce this podcast. It's my hope that cult survivors and survivors of other trauma find encouragement and inspiration about telling their own stories by listening to what my guests, how they've used creativity to heal, and more specifically, the tools and sort of mental approaches that they've taken, the support that they've gotten. All these things are important, I think, to encourage listeners, perhaps like you, to tell your story. Christi also talks about how helpful it was to find a writing group to work with, and I think this is a really important point that she makes. The writing group also provided feedback for her and accountability so that she would keep going with her story. And without that group, she says her book never would have been finished. It really enabled her to keep going and to push through when things got difficult. And I've put a link in the show notes to the writing teacher that Christi mentions, who hosted that group. So I hope you enjoy this episode with the author of Wager on Forever, Christi Christians. This episode of Creative Alchemy is supported by the audiobook version of my award-winning Amazon best-selling memoir, Cult, A Love Story. Readers call the book compelling, gritty, intimate, and, as I've said before, not boring, which is one of my favorite reviews of the book. I narrated the audiobook, and if you have a Spotify premium subscription, you can listen to the audiobook for free as part of that subscription. You can go to alexandraamor.com/Spotify, and that link will take you directly to the version of the audiobook that's on Spotify. So that link is alexandraamor.com/Spotify to start listening today. And I'll put a link in the show notes to that as well. And now here's my interview with Christi Christians. Please enjoy. All right. Christi Christians, welcome to Creative Alchemy.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra. I feel very grateful, actually, that I have this opportunity to express how important writing was for me in the recovery of after the cult, after leaving the cult.
Yes, awesome. Oh, good. Well, I'm so glad you're here to talk about that. Yeah, that's
Yes.
amazing. All right. So let's start. Give us a little bit of your background and yeah, a little bit about yourself.
Well, for as long as I can remember, I was a seeker. I was never really restful. I had a restless in me and was always looking for something more. Like I thought I was missing out. I thought there was much more to experience as what I experienced. That was already when I grew up at home. I was no, I didn't feel I belonged. I was always looking somewhere else. And so so I was the old, I was born in Belgium. I was the oldest of five children. And as I said, I in my home, I wasn't totally at home. I was a restless seeker and a little bit, I had a rebellion side in me too, I have to admit. So then I married and I had four children. I have four children myself. And that didn't stop me looking for adventures. I was always looking for the next adventure. We moved from Belgium to Spain to go, that was in the 70s. It was in at that time to go back to the land and to be self-sufficient and all that. So with my family, we did that. And then when we came back, so we came back to Belgium. We were there for 8 years, and then we came back. A few years after we came back, I had this friend that asked me if I wanted to go to Germany with her because something, she came back from America and she had met three people there that were to her absolutely amazing. And they were on a European tour. And she begged me to go with her. So I did. And that's when it happened.
So tell us what you found when you went to that weekend in Germany.
so so first I was kind of nervous, didn't know what to expect, and she was kind of mysterious about it. Yeah, these people, they talk about physical immortality. What? Physical immortality? Not dying? Yes, yes, but please hear them out. You'll see. You can see for yourself. And yes, so I was very taken in with them. They had a big impact on me. Everything they said, they expressed, and I was already looking. I was already looking for something. So I was a perfect candidate to get sucked into a cult.
Hmm. And so you mentioned it was about immortality. So kind of what are
Mhm.
the highlights of what they taught or what they believed?
So the highlights was that, so they say death is not inevitable. So they say, oh, the whole world thinks that death is inevitable, but we say it's not. We say that the body has the capacity in deep into the cells to, to keep regenerating, to live forever and keep regenerating and keep getting better and better. So that was their hook. And uh, that sounded fantastic to me. What? We can keep regenerating? Wow. And then they promoted, to be fully alive, to express ourselves, to be open. And all that appealed to me at that time. And
Hmm.
by the end of the weekend, I was in
Wow. Yeah.
already, just in three, well, the Friday night, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and as you say, you were looking. So you
And
were,
I was looking,
yeah.
I was searching, yeah,
Yeah.
searching
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
more meaning. I was kind of, at that time, I was in my early 40s, so a little bit midlife crisis, uh, seeking for something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there were three leaders, right? It was
Yes,
three people. Yeah.
3 people.
And about how big was the group at the weekend, would you say?
Well, at that weekend, of course, so that was in Munich, and there were people that organized for them in Munich, and they also had a group. They were also coaches and leaders, and they had a group of people. So they invited everybody that they knew, and then there were also people from other countries, from England, from the Netherlands, from Austria. So people from all over. There was also something that attracted me. It was really an interesting bunch of people. And in that room were about 250 to 300 people that they got together to come and listen to them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then as things unfolded, how did they say that you could achieve immortality?
Mainly by, so immortality was a cellular connection. Cellular connection.
Yeah.
So that was what they promoted. So it was mainly to be with them. When
Ah,
you
right.
were connected with them, that was the way to achieve it. You could not do it somewhere on your own in your own country somewhere. You had to be with them, and you had to meet with them. So they had meetings twice a week.
hmm
So it was very involved.
Yes. Yeah. And did your husband get involved too at the same time?
No, he was not. He went with us to Germany that time. That was the first time that he went to something with me, because mostly he was, she's into one of her crazy adventures. But no, he didn't buy it.
Okay. All right.
He did not buy it. So that was the beginning of a lot of contrast between us, a lot of conflict, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I bet. And then, so fast, we're going to fast forward then. And how long were you involved with the group?
Well, so I was involved immediately then, and
hmm
that was in, when was that? So I moved to America in 2000. So, but for 10 years, so that was 1990, that I met them in 89, I think, in 89, something like that. But then I couldn't move immediately because my children were still too young, and I wasn't gonna bring them all with me and all that. So I stayed for 10 years in Belgium, but I was always traveling because they traveled all over the world to do what they did in Munich, to look for people. And I traveled almost everywhere, especially in Europe and also in America, for 10 years. And then after 10 years, I moved here. I moved from Belgium to Phoenix to be permanently involved with the group, because in Phoenix, Arizona is where their center was.
Right. Okay. And so your children and your husband, they stayed in Belgium?
Well, it's a little bit more complicated. My oldest son, I came just 10 years. I came every year to America because every year in the summer they gave a big event that people came from all over the world. And I took my oldest son with me once, and he was also interested in them. And he moved here a year later before me.
Mm.
So he was here with them before me.
Mm-hmm.
So he was already here, and then the other three children, they stayed in Belgium with my husband, with their father. Yeah.
Right, right. And your marriage eventually fell apart, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, yeah. It's a bit a complicated story, but I don't think we have to go into all these details. Are in my book, so.
Yes, yes, exactly. Okay, so take us to when you, I guess, when did you decide to leave? And what was the catalyst for that?
Leaving the cult, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, first I have to say that for 7 years before I left, I had in my mind the idea of leaving. I was playing with it,
Mm.
but I couldn't.
Hmm.
I was so into it and so brainwashed and afraid to
Yeah.
leave. And also because my son was there and I felt responsible because I brought him there. And so for 7 years, I was playing with this idea to leave, and I just couldn't do it. And then I I learned about somebody while I was in the cult, and he was so we got together. We got together with this man, and he was maybe the biggest catalyst for me to leave, and some other people that were also just left or about to leave. But he was definitely the biggest catalyst that opened my eyes. And he left before me.
Mm.
And I
Hmm.
saw what happened to him when he was out. He changed, he became more happy, more free, more and I saw that. Oh wow. And then he never tried to convince me to leave or in those few months that he had left, because he knew I was still totally involved. But just the way he was enough
Mm.
for me to. It was amazing, the difference
Mm.
in him.
Wow. Okay. And so then what year was it that you actually left?
2019.
Okay. And then when did it occur to you that you wanted to tell this story, write this book?
Well, first, when I just left, of course, it was very hard because
Mm-hmm.
I left all my friends from 30 years, because altogether it was 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all the people I knew, all my friends, and my son, that was the hardest because
Mm-hmm.
he was still there and it still is. So I, and little by little, I started to realize all the things I did to
Mm-hmm.
be able to leave the cult, like leave everything behind in Belgium. And I just did that because it was encouraged by them. And I was totally in. So it was very tough. And I wanted to express myself. Because I felt that had been suppressed all the time I was there. And I wanted to find my own voice. I wanted to discover, because I had to discover it. What was I say? What am I going to say about this? Everything what happened? And I intuitively wrote that down, not yet with the purpose to write a book, but yet I wanted to express it to the world. I don't know yet, I didn't know at that time yet how, but I wanted to tell my story from me, to have my perspective on all that, because all the time I was there, I had the leader's perspective.
Right.
What were they saying? And now finally, I could write down what my experience was without the fear. The fear was gone because they had no grip on me anymore. The spell was over. Once I left, done.
Yes.
So, yeah, and then I started to really enjoy this. I started just to enjoy writing. Not yet the idea of a book, but just releasing all the suppression. And then I had another friend that also left, and she was willing to read it. And she said, "Wow, this is amazing." She loved it. She said, because I also recognize everything you're saying there, a lot of things that I was also not aware of.
Mm.
So, and that started to encourage me more and more to keep going. So I just kept writing.
Oh, I love that. Well, and I think it's so important to we need to put a pin in the fact that you just began to tell your story without knowing what you were going to do with it, and that alone was valuable to you.
That was very valuable.
Yeah. And then when you shared what you had started to write with your friend, um, at that point, did you think it would be a book or did you just want to share it with somebody?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to share it because I I got the idea a little bit far in my head, but I thought I wasn't I couldn't do that. I thought, because first of all, English was not my first language, and while I was writing uh, for for myself or for a few friends, I didn't care so much. But I thought, wow, when this would be a book, and that needs to be nice. And I didn't know anything about writing a book. I didn't even know that you had editors and all that. I didn't know anything. But I discovered Grammarly.
All right.
Somebody, well, it came on my screen, a commercial for Grammarly. And I thought, oh, that's what I need. So I bought a membership on Grammarly, and that started to give me, at that time, Grammarly was not as sophisticated as it is today.
Hmm.
It just did your spelling and then a little bit on the sentence, kind of removed the pieces of the sentence a little bit. But that helped me. Uh, that was fantastic. You know, you type and boom, boom, all the right spelling came up. Oh, yes. And then I started to think more and more that I could write a good piece, because
Mm.
I had help, like help that was always there.
Right. Yes. Yeah, yeah. And it always, you and I have known each other for a few years because you came to me with your book and with asking for
Mm-hmm.
some help when it was ready to be published. And I'm always so surprised, and you just reminded me how quickly after your experience you started writing about it. And maybe that has something to
Yeah.
do with the 7 years that you were thinking about leaving. So there was almost a
Uh-huh.
decade there,
Yes, yes.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm just always so impressed by that about how quickly you wanted to express yourself.
Yes, yeah, it was an urge that I had, and I just followed it. Of course, I have to say, that the pieces that I wrote in the beginning, so then my next challenge was then that I had a piece written, but I didn't know how was I going to make a book. I started to kind of divide it and make some chapters and all that, but it was okay. But I knew that it wasn't good enough for a book. So what I did then was I looked for a group, a coach, a
Yeah.
writing coach, and that worked in small groups. We were like with 5 people, and we met every week. And that is the best I've ever did for both, and for my writing and for my recovery and my healing. It was absolutely amazing. So, and I still remember that the coach said to me, she said, well, so she read, we could give her something to read. Writing is an art and a skill. She said, you have the art, but you don't have the skill. But she said, that's a good deal because the skill you can learn.
Yes.
So then I started to learn. I bought books myself and I learned how to write a memoir. And then I learned from her. She gave little lessons before we started and all that. So, and then once I was working with her and started studying memoir, then I knew I was going to bring this to an end, that I
Mm.
wanted to have a book in my hands.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And
Because I have to say something
yes.
very
Yeah. Yeah.
important.
Okay.
In that process, I found your book,
Oh, okay.
Love, Cult, a Love Story.
Right. Yeah.
And I cannot tell you how much that book helped me.
Mm.
Just reading that book and be validated,
Mm.
knowing I wasn't alone
Yeah.
wanting to write all this, and there was somebody else in the world. And yeah, that helped me a lot, and that also gave me the desire and the courage to keep on writing and to finish the book.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. That's very nice to hear. I appreciate that. That's lovely. And I imagine, I know too, people often start out to write a book and then, it gets messy in the middle. We can get kind of lost. We've come a certain way and people just seem to hit a bit of a block. I don't know where to go now. I
Uh-huh.
don't know how to. And so I imagine the writing group that you were in helped you with a bit of momentum, like keep
Oh yeah,
going.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, totally. I could not have done this by myself. I could
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Just simply not.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's good. And what's her name? Let's give her a little shout out. The teacher,
Brenda,
Brenda.
Brenda Smith James. She
Right.
she was amazing. She's also in Vancouver.
Oh, oh, that's right. I'd
Yeah,
forgotten that.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I will put a link to her website in the show notes. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so you kept going and emotionally, what was the process like for you writing? I'm really interested in that because I
Yeah.
remember, myself that it was a very emotional thing to do.
Oh yeah.
What was it like for you?
Yeah, it was very emotional. That's
Mm,
also where the group was a very help. And I also, for a while, had a therapist.
okay.
So I was in therapy for a while, yeah, because emotionally it was a lot.
Hmm.
Um, some, especially the writing, also before the cult, how I took the decision to do that, how I left everything, how I broke up my family and everything. And having to write all that and to face all that, it was hard, but it was the best thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the this is with everything that we face. The way out is through.
Mm.
That's something that I always remember. I read it somewhere or heard it somewhere, and I always remember that, because you can't run away from it,
No.
because it's in you. So you don't have to be stuck in it. You don't have to
Right.
be forever in the misery, but you have to walk through it. So, and that's what I did, and that's where also writing the book helped me a lot to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because also while I was writing, things came up that I forgot even, or that I did not know how to express in words. Sometimes I had to look for words, because those, like all the cult words, they're not words that you use every day. So I had to look some up and learn about what it really means, like coerce and
Mm.
all manipulation, gaslighting, all these words.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't use these words before.
Yeah.
I heard them, of course, but I didn't use them. I thought they weren't pertinent to me.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But then, so, and then expressing all that, expressing those feelings and facing them, it took the sting out of it.
Mm.
Because I think that is very important in life for me too. It's not that we never want to feel it anymore. Sometimes, I get up some mornings and I feel something from the past, and it grips me. But then it doesn't direct my life anymore. It's okay. I can feel it, and
Mm-hmm.
I give myself the permission to feel it, and I know it was the past, and it will subside. The feeling will subside, and it always does.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be the willingness to feel it fully and not to suppress. That's what I find.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, and you're so right that there's a difference between feeling our feelings and wallowing in them or
Exactly.
staying stuck. And I think
Exactly.
people are sometimes afraid, if I feel this, I'll get stuck
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
But
That's
that never
real.
happens. We always move through it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I really remember, and I think you sort of touched on this just now, but I remember I learned things about the cult by writing about it. So
Uh-huh.
because I was a little bit removed and detached,
Yes.
I was able to see, oh, our cult leader did this thing so that
Mm-hmm.
9 months later she could do this. It was like watching somebody playing chess in slow motion.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
did you learn things from writing about the story?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The way they treated us, for example. I was totally oblivious to that when I was in there. But for example, they had this, like someday they came in and the meeting began and they were praising us and doing all that stuff. And then another day, or even at the end of that same meeting, they were bringing us down. And that is really a tactic to draw people in again,
Hmm.
because when you see, oh, I wasn't good, I wasn't good enough, I didn't do what the leaders want me to do, and then you want to be good again, And
Yeah.
there was always this up and down thing. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that when I was there. And then all the us versus them that they promoted.
Mm-hmm.
We were the people, we were going to live forever. We were physically immortal, and the rest of the world was just going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, yeah, absolutely. I learned a lot. And also, I studied cults.
Right.
I was reading books about it and studied it.
Yeah.
And that was good. It was so good to study them and then to write about them. It made me feel that I didn't go through all that for nothing, that I
Mm.
experienced all this for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I was destined to write this book somehow.
Mm.
Um, because I also knew from reading your book and then more books after that how important it is for people to read somebody else's material, to
Yeah.
feel validated, to feel understood. That was the most important.
Yeah.
Not to feel alone, not to
Mm.
feel that I'm crazy.
Yes. Yes. And I love what you say about it gives the experience meaning. By
Yep,
writing about it, it
yep,
gave it meaning for you. Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
That's great.
And
Uh,
purpose. It was a
yeah.
purpose, a new purpose that I absolutely needed.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you continue to write, and then how did you know, like where did so you have a collection of um maybe chapters or maybe just
Mm-hmm.
stories, vignettes. What
Mm-hmm.
did you start to do to shape it?
Well, mainly I made a timeline.
Mm,
That was a very important step I did. Somewhere in the middle or so, I think. And I put all the important um, happenings,
mm-hmm,
events on that timeline.
mm-hmm,
And then that's how I shaped the book. And I also used flashbacks.
mm-hmm. Right.
So therefore the timeline is even more important because you have to see that you stay on track, and that you kind of seemingly seamless a little bit move into flashbacks, but that the reader also immediately understand that you're going back in time.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, and I just want to
So,
interject there. I think that's such a clever strategy to use or writing technique because unfortunately, I see too many memoirs that are just a straight line. This
uh-huh.
happened, and then that
And
happened, and
this
then
and
this other
this.
thing happened, and
Mm-hmm.
then that, and then the end. And so, when we, just for those listening who are interested in writing their own story, when we change things up like that, when we use a strategy like putting flashbacks in, that really keeps the reader interested. It keeps them on their
Yeah,
toes.
yeah.
And their brain has to catch up a little bit with what's happening.
Yes,
And it just holds their interest. So they keep turning the pages. Yeah. So well done
yes.
you for using that. I think that's great.
Yeah, yes, yeah. And I loved it. It gave for me also something to really think about and work on.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted also to say, because we were talking about, feeling validated and feeling that people that also come out of cults that they can relate to us. But it's not only that, it went beyond that. Something I was kind of surprised because I didn't expect that. Like, for example, some people, there was a lady and she had her parents were in a cult,
Mm.
and then they got out when she was a child still or so. So she was never in it, but her parents were. And as she said, by reading my book, she understood her parents.
Yes.
That
Yes.
because first she was kind of angry with them, because of that, and she didn't know why did they do that. And then she understood, and she could be forgiving to
Mm.
her parents. And there, so it's not only that you write for people that come out of cults, also people that had loved ones that were in cults.
Yes. Oh, so well said. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's such a valuable point. Thank you so much for bringing that
Mm,
up. Yeah,
yeah.
people really understand. Yeah, yeah, the ripples of understanding just keep
Mm-hmm.
going outward. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So then you began to shape it into a book,
Mm-hmm.
and what next? Where did you go from there?
So then my my coach also wanted to do like a first editing part. I had somebody else that did the final editing, but
Hmm.
she did the first. And chapter by chapter, and then she still wanted me to change quite a bit.
Mm.
And it was tough sometimes. Like I
Mm.
needed to rewrite. So she said, "Oh, you need to rewrite this because it doesn't this and that." And but she was so good, Then each time when I got a chapter back, I was overwhelmed, by the
Hmm.
changes that I still needed to make. But she was always, "It's okay. You will get there. You will get there." So, and each time I did it, I made all the changes as he asked me, chapter by chapter. That took a long time too.
Yeah.
So, and then when that was done, then it went to another editor to the final. And then there was still not so much anymore, but there was still things that he saw or
Mm.
found that needed to or be clarified more or be changed for some other reason.
Hmm.
So, and then I did that and until it was all polished.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And I imagine that your coach was quite skillful about her recommendations because one thing that can happen to new writers is that they feel completely squashed by feedback, right? They've
Mm-hmm,
poured your
mm-hmm.
heart into this thing
Yeah, yeah.
and it feels like it should be
I
enough, and now somebody's saying, no, no, it needs to be better.
I can understand that. Yeah,
Yes,
I
yeah.
can understand it. Absolutely.
So how did you cope with that sort of feeling?
Well, I have to say it was really had a lot to do with her skills.
Yeah.
She was so skilled the way she did it. She was never, I never had the feeling like, oh, I can't do this. Or, but it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And especially it was with the first chapters, but then I got used to it. Then I thought,
Mm.
okay, I can do this. But yeah, she had a very loving personality. She came out with understanding and love, and I was just delighted actually to work with her and to do. And she was right. Everything she said made sense.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but but I have to say, from that original piece that I wrote,
Hmm.
not much was left of that.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I heard a great, excuse me, or I saw a great quote from Terry Pratchett, who was a UK writer, and he said, the first draft is the writer telling themselves the story.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
really, when we're writing the first thing, we're just getting it out for ourselves almost.
Yeah.
And then that's why it changes so much because,
Yeah.
yeah, it becomes for other
Yeah.
people.
I heard people saying the first draft is like the vomiting, like
Yep.
vomiting on the page.
Yeah, just get it out. Yeah,
Get it
yeah.
out.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, yeah.
But
And
that's
so,
not for the public.
no, that's right. That's not for the public. Yeah, yeah. And so along the way, at any point did your children or your ex-husband read the book?
Well, my ex-husband, I don't know if he ever read the book. I once talked with him about it. He passed away in the meantime. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked with him because we talked on the phone regularly, mostly about the kids and all that. I asked him, and he said it was very difficult for him to read the English. So he
Oh,
had
okay.
to do like a double. He wasn't absolutely not used to reading in English.
Yeah.
So I don't think he read it. So, but before the book came out, my son, that is still in the cult, he read it. I
He
asked him
did.
to read it. Yeah, I asked him to read it
Oh.
because we were connected again. So we were disconnected just after I
Mm-hmm.
left, but then he came back, and so we are actually really well connected again, which is really great. But that was kind of in the beginning when we were connecting again. But I gave him the choice. I said, look, I would like for you to read, like when it comes out, it's not going to be received well in the cult. Well, that's normal, right? And I said, I would give it to you. And if you want to read it, that would be really great. And I said, because you are in there quite a bit, and you have to let me know if there is something in there that you don't want me to say about you. And he was very good about it. He said, yeah, it's your story, and
Hmm.
you tell your story from your side, and there is nobody that can say anything about that. Uh, and that is also later, when the book came out, what he said to some of the people that talked to him about it. It's her story, and that's it. We
Mm-hmm.
all have a different story.
Yes. Yes. Is he still involved?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Hmm. That surprises me that he would be willing to read it if he's still in.
Yeah, yeah, it was amazing. And we talked about it because there are a lot of intense things in there.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it afterwards, and he was, yeah, he said, if that's how you experienced it, that's it.
Hmm. Wow. Wow. That's so
Yeah,
interesting.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Um, and let's see, well, how are we doing for time? Yeah, we're kind of winding up here, but um, one of the questions I wanted to ask finally, and I think we've sort of already asked this, was whether it helped, whether writing the book Wager on Forever helped your healing process. And I've heard you say yes, it really
Yes.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it
Yeah.
did totally. I mean, I would have. It was the biggest part of the healing process. Also, the therapy was, and then
Hmm.
time, as time go by, and the therapy was, and what was also was the books that I read, like your book, and also I had some contact with people that also left.
Mm.
And that helped a lot too.
Hmm.
And then I listened to podcasts of other people that left cults and all that. And all that helped to validate my experiences, um, and to get interested in other people. How did other people experience all that, and the people. And I was always so thankful for the people that were able to express in public, because I know it can be tough, uh, because you never know what reactions you're going to get. But the desire can be so great in yourself that you really have to do that. I think that's the only way you can really do it,
Hmm.
when you
Yeah.
have the urge to do it.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, yeah. And did you experience any backlash or negative feedback from the cult?
Yeah, yes, I did
Hmm.
some. There was somebody, only one person, that was, so beside my son and his wife, there was one other person that I still had a relationship with, which was amazing. But the book did it.
Mm.
After she read the book, I think it, and I understand it is very confrontive
Hmm.
when you're still there and you want to still stay there, and just the fact that I called them a cult, she could not handle it.
Right.
Well, yeah, it also confronts you. What am I doing? Is it really, really what I want to do? Or is there something? So she didn't finish it either.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I can
Uh,
understand that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but for the rest, I have no contact with the people anymore, and nobody did anything like calling me or writing, so I didn't hear.
Hmm. Yeah. And so, second last question here. Where do you find creative expression in your life now?
Right now, oh well, first I have to say that I started to work on the sequence of the book,
Mm-hmm.
because so the first book ends when I traveled to Belgium, and then when I was on the airplane to Belgium, and now the second book describes, because I hadn't been there in 24 years.
Right.
So I hadn't seen my family in 24 years.
Mm.
And so that it starts there. But about a year and a half, so after the time that my book was published, I got sick, and I got digestive problems, a lot of digestive problems. And I luckily found a really good practitioner, an alternative practitioner that really is helping me very well. But I have to change a lot of things. I have to change my lifestyle, my food, everything, and a lot of therapies that I have to do. And this is kind of, so I stopped writing because, not permanently, but
Hmm.
temporarily, to take care of my health. And it's kind of my creative, like then it was more healing emotionally and psychologically, and now I'm healing physically, and there is a lot of creativity in that too.
Hmm.
There is creativity in everything if you look for it, and if you be creative, right?
Right. Yeah, that's well said. Oh, good for you. Yeah. All right. And oh, and I did want to say before we wrap up, so it was an immortality cult that you were in. And
Mhm.
am I correct? 2 out of the 3 leaders have passed away.
Yes, 2 out of the 3 leaders have passed away. One in 2014, and the other one when I already had left in 2021 or 22, somewhere there. And so there is only one leader left, right? And since then, I'm going to start talking Dutch to you. Since then, they have changed kind of their policies and their practices a little bit, and are more. They're still in the area, but they're more coming out as longevity or life extension. Because, yeah, I mean, it's hard to promote physical immortality if 2 founders died,
Exactly. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but yet, even after they died, we stayed.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that something?
Yeah, that really speaks to, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just how cults work and how they
Yep.
turn our brains into knots. And yeah,
Exactly.
perfect
Exactly.
example. Yes,
Yep.
yeah. Well, Christy, your book is called Wager on Forever. And
Yes.
please tell the listeners where they can find out more about it.
Well, they can find it on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
which you helped me put there.
Right, yes.
So it's in an ebook and then a paperback.
Yeah.
And if you type in Wager on Forever, it comes up. It seems that I am the only book whose title is Wager on Forever.
Nice.
So that's good.
That is good. Yes. Yeah. It makes you
Yeah.
easy to find. Well, and
Yeah.
I will put links in the show notes as well
Oh, thank you.
to your
Thank
book.
you.
And yeah, thank you so much for being here with me today. It's been lovely chatting with you again.
Yeah. It was my pleasure.
All right. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening. I hope you found the show helpful and uplifting. You'll find all the backlist episodes and show notes at creativealchemypodcast.com. To learn more about how to use journaling as part of your healing toolkit after a cult or other traumatic experience, get your complimentary copy of the Creative Alchemy Journaling Handbook at alexandraamor.com/alchemy. See you next time.